Hey guys, welcome to my channel Car. In today's video on how to test a fuel pressure regulator without a gauge. So today, we're basically talking about how to test a fuel pressure regulator without a gauge, and I'm going to show you the step-by-step process. So if you suspect that your fuel pressure regulator might be faulty, but you don't have a gauge to test it, then this video is for you. First of all, let's briefly understand what a fuel pressure regulator does. A fuel pressure regulator controls the amount of fuel that is delivered to the engine. If it's faulty, it can cause various issues like starting problems, stalling, poor performance, and even fuel leaks. Therefore, it's crucial to make sure that your fuel pressure regulator is working correctly. Here are steps on how to test a fuel pressure regulator without a gauge. So now, let's jump into the steps of how to run the test without a gauge. Step 1. Locate the fuel pressure regulator. The fuel pressure regulator is typically located on the fuel rail, which is a long metal pipe that runs along the top of the engine. The fuel pressure regulator is attached to this rail by a small hose. Step 2. Remove the vacuum hose. The fuel pressure regulator has a small vacuum hose that's connected to it. Remove this hose by gently pulling it off the regulator. Be careful not to damage the hose or the regulator while doing this. Step 3. Inspect the vacuum hose. Once you've removed the vacuum hose, inspect it for any signs of fuel. If you see fuel coming out of the vacuum hose, it's a sign that the regulator is faulty and needs to be replaced. Step 4. Start the engine. Now it's time to start the engine. Let it run for a few minutes to warm up. Observe the vacuum hose's end that you disconnected from the fuel pressure regulator. If you see fuel coming out, it's an indication that the fuel pressure regulator is faulty and needs to be replaced. And also, check for fuel trans from the vacuum hose. If there is no fuel coming out of the vacuum hose, then reconnect the vacuum hose to the fuel pressure regulator and start the engine. Now it's time to start the engine. Let it run for a few minutes to warm up. Step 5. Observe the engine behavior. While the engine is running, observe its behavior. If you notice any of the following symptoms, it's a sign that the fuel pressure regulator is faulty. Rough idle, stalling, hesitation during acceleration, poor fuel economy, black smoke from the exhaust. Step 6. Shut off the engine. Once you've observed the engine's behavior, shut off the engine. Step 7. Inspect the fuel rail. Inspect the fuel rail and the area around the fuel pressure regulator for any signs of fuel leakage. If you see fuel, it's a sign that the regulator is faulty and needs to be replaced. Step 8. Observe the tailpipe for excessive smoke. If you see black smoke, it's an indication that the fuel pressure regulator is faulty and needs to testing a fuel pressure regulator without a gauge can be done with these simple steps. Remember to take your time, be patient, and observe your engine's behavior to determine if the regulator is faulty. If you do find that it needs to be replaced, it's best to take your vehicle to a trusted mechanic for further diagnosis and repair. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in my next video.